Welcome to Hermione Fanfic Fanatics. Today you're here with Carrie Ann, Holly, and Tracy. And today we are going to discuss Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love, written by Is This Self-Care?
Yep.
Okay. It's got 36 chapters. It is completed. It's got 199,543 words. You can find this on AO3, Wattpad. There are also audio versions out there as well. Um, just FYI for anybody listening, there are going to be spoilers. We will be talking about what's in the fan fiction. So if you have not read it, maybe just pause our little episode, go read it, come back, and then you can join us. So here we go.
Yay! The
Yay.
Batmobile.
Yay! I call this one Batmobile because when you say it, it just sounds like Batmobile.
I'm
So
sticking with Demote Bill.
yeah, I
And
don't care.
The Batmobile is what I've been saying. So
No, what everybody else calls it, what you're supposed to call it. I'm just
Everybody
gonna say Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love every single time.
Good for you. I'm not.
good luck. Yeah, good luck keeping up with that.
Thank you. Okay. This one, I don't care what Tracy has said previously. This one kept me hooked the whole time. Whole time. That's why I've read it 3 times, okay? 3 times. I love this one.
I do think it is slightly overhyped, but that is just me. But there's a lot of good things about it. But it just, I'm very much a mood reader, and I was not in the mood to read this, so I had to drag myself through the entire story, and like until it got really good. There was one part where it hooked me, and then I was able to actually read more than just a chapter at a time. But it was good. It was good for what it is. But
I like protective Draco. I think that's what I go for. And for him being I'm gonna say it wrong, Auror.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good job.
Him being an Auror, I just love that. I think that's
Draco is one of the best Dracos. Just is. I totally agree with that.
mm-hmm.
I really love the rom-com aspect of this one.
Yes.
There's so many lines that are just they're golden. They are golden lines. Love it. I wish I could see this as a film. It would be fantastic. Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. I love all the little quirks that it has. It has a lot of quirky bits to it that maybe that's why I stayed hooked because well, I just like stuff like that.
Exactly. It's one-liners helped. Its one-liners kept me going.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wrote so many down
And
because
you
they were
sent us so many
funny.
screenshots while you were reading it.
Because it was so funny.
It was.
It was, and
I'm just sitting here going, yes, yes. This is what Tracy felt like when she got me to read Remain Nameless for the first time.
Well,
there's the first plug for Remain Nameless in this episode.
It is not going to be the only one. So just be warned, Remain Nameless. Top tier.
She talks about it a lot.
Top tier. It's godly. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
One thing I loved about it's been writing, or is this self-care? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The author is this self-care. Is adding. They went back and added the fan art into a lot of the chapters.
The chapters, yeah.
Loved them. I loved seeing that. Just I don't know, just being able to visualize.
I feel like I'm going to have to go back and go through all of these because I don't feel like I've seen them all.
It's worth
it.
Because I just listened to it.
That's true. I still think the cutest is like the cover, the main one that looks like a movie trailer poster. I think that was so cute.
Me
I do
too.
Not remember the artist who did that, but
I had it. Dang it! I forgot what it was. Thanks.
Oh, I think I have it pulled up. Hold on.
I do have a screenshot of
Catherine 7MK.
Way to be, Catherine. It's so cute. I have one. It's a very lovely still of Draco. As you can kind of see. And it was all around it. God, he's so funny in this.
He is. He's so great.
So.
And that's the part where they revisit that scene in the end because he's telling her, "Oh, dude, I wanted to do you then." I walked out of that bathroom dripping water off my body, and you didn't even look at me. And she's like, "You're right. I didn't look at you because I knew I wouldn't be able to help myself." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, me too." Draco Malfoy, dripping water.
I mean, I get it. I get it. I can see it.
I can see it when I look at that fanfic art.
Okay. At what point did well, I don't know, like Holly liked it, but at what point, Carrie Ann, did it pull you in, I guess? Like what part was the part that like, oh, this is good? Did you even have one, I should say?
I guess it was I mean, it was good, but I think the first time that it like hooked me was when they were out. He like went to visit her while she was speaking at a like Muggle big research. I don't know the right word for it, but like,
Convention?
Convention, yeah. And the other doctor was like trying to hit on her, and he was like, "Yeah, he's gonna ask you out, by the way." And she's like, "No." Like then they go out and have drinks at the bar, and he's got this cover story. Like that was cute. I was like, "Oh, see, I want more of like that kind of interaction." Because I think it was the first time that she like warmed up to him.
Yeah.
That also contains one of my favorite lines from I mean, all of them are my favorite lines. Any of the funny ones, they're so hilarious. But one of the doctors asks him, "What brings you to Oxford, Dr. Granger? And what are you doing in Oxford, Dr. Granger?" It's just they're just so tactfully placed in this story. The way that everything it's so good. It's so good.
One of my favorite tropes. You guys like, or Karen likes horror. Draco. I really like Quidditch player Draco, and I liked how they brought in how he said like, oh, when he was asked, "What do you do?" "Oh, I'm a pilot." And I'm like, oh,
yes.
Oh. I mean, that doesn't really have anything to do with the Quidditch, but it brought it in because he likes to
it's
fly.
flying.
And
yes.
we love the like, oh, I'm scared to fly, but I have to do it, so let's double up on a broom.
Mm-hmm.
I was living for those scenes. So anyway.
Yes. I don't like fics where they ride on a broom together and she's holding on from the back. I'm like, no.
Sit in front of him.
Get on front. You kind of have to. Oh, I thought about it. I think about it every time.
Because when you think about it like rationally, like on a motorcycle, if I don't know how to drive a motorcycle, obviously I'm gonna sit in the back. So like it makes sense if like, okay, like if you think that way.
Yes.
But then you think about a horse, it's the opposite way. I'm like, I'm gonna sit in front of you.
That's a good point.
So it really just depends on like who the rider is. But
I want to be held.
I just want to back my ass up on him. Like, yeah, I'm gonna tease him the whole time. Like that would be the whole point.
Oh man, yes. Oh, something I loved about this were the random acronyms that they threw in. So there were a couple, and I wrote them down so that I wouldn't forget them. But SWOT, she does a SWOT analysis. SWOT, which is this a British term? Is SWOT a British term that they use for somebody like Hermione Granger that's smart? And is it? I don't know.
It says that it's a business term.
Oh. Exactly. I'm like, I feel like I've heard of SWOT analysis before.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Wait, is this a real thing?
Yeah. It's in like the Business News Daily.
Hold, please. Like... Bryce. A SWOT analysis. What does that mean? Hang on. No,
it's a real thing. You can Google it right now.
I'm having an American moment, and I call these my American moments. I've shared them with you of how stupid I am. This is another thing. I've heard this too. This is what like police people use. No, see, SWAT.
Well, that's because SWAT. That's a SWAT team. That's a SWAT team.
Right.
But a SWOT analysis is a business term.
Yeah, you can also call it SWOT matrix is like another word that they use, which I think is what helps
then
differentiate.
Why do they call Hermione a SWAT? She's the biggest SWAT. I feel like that's a British term. I've never heard that.
Because we've heard it, or we've read so many Hermione fan fictions that maybe that's
'Cause
just
as
a
it's
swatty
okay,
person.
a British term SWAT
Or that's
means
all.
to study hard. So you could
I
call
don't need
someone
your help, honey.
swatty if they like study hard.
Yep. Okay, you're correct.
Did you hear that, Holly?
If they study hard.
Yeah,
Wait.
it's as a British term, SWAT is
So
a
it
verb.
is.
Yeah,
Okay.
but as it's a verb meaning to study, and an acronym SWAT is a business term.
Okay, so they actually use SWOT as a business term in this because she does. She goes strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats is what she says. And he thinks it's hilarious though because she's such a SWAT. And then okay, fine, whatever. Moving on. The other acronym that I liked was hold on, what is it? Oh, it's sperm. Didn't write it down, so I had to go through. The Society for the Protection of Eminently Respectable Malfoys. Yeah, I liked them. I thought they were great. Sperm.
God.
I think this was just a good fanfic because it was just lighthearted. Like it was more funny. It was easy to like get into. This is one that like you don't need to have a ton of like Harry Potter knowledge to like understand it. Like you could pick this up at any point and understand it as like a book, as a story.
It was very low stakes as well, so that's another thing that people like about it, that I like about it. Even though, there was the whole she was kidnapped at the end, but
she was kidnapped a couple of times.
That's true. Attempted kidnappings aside, it was a very low stakes fix. So.
But lovely protective Draco saved her. So what more could you want?
Well, and I thought it was so funny, just like the way he nonchalantly puts tracking charms on all of her things randomly. He's like, "Oh, I know."
Were so funny.
Genius.
So smart.
Genius.
Yeah. She's not going to wear the ring. Like, of course. And that's exactly his first thought. So he charms all these different things. And then when he's in her house, he just grabs a handful of those and is like, yep, there we go.
I like how he continually did it too. Like he would go back the next time and be like, yeah, let's charm a couple more.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we've all seen the TikTok of, oh goodness, that they took from the Barbie movie where she's singing in the back and Ken pops up.
I resent it to you, and then I sent it to Carrie Ann when she was reading it the first time.
Love that. That was I saw that before I read this, and I was like, okay,
I know
that'll
you
be
did
funny.
because you sent it to me.
Yeah.
I had read it, and you knew I had read it, but you had never read it, and you were like, "Is this accurate at all?" And I laughed so hard because then I remember exactly what happens, and it's so. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Oh, it's so funny. I love that the whole scene itself when he's apparating. He talks about, I felt a weird tugging sensation, almost like it was just different. And then he realized, oh, it's because she was in a moving vehicle. So apparition doesn't usually work that way. It's like, oh my gosh, you're so dumb. but that was the funny thing. Like they were both idiots. That's our favorite thing about Hermione. There are two big idiots in love. That's what I like about it.
I love that. You know what I really giggled at was in the early chapters when like they're still kind of indifferent towards each other. At one point he says like, "What's to stop me, a baddie?" And all I could think about is like, what an odd phrase, because in my head, if I call someone a baddie, it's more like, you a baddie, like, like you good. And so my whole time I was like, you're a baddie, you are like. Anyways,
true.
Random phrasing.
I really liked that it was from Draco's point of view.
I love that.
The whole book. I do. Yep. I am a sucker for a Draco POV. Just because I don't know what it is about getting his thoughts on everything 24/7. I feel like I prefer that to Hermione, and I feel like most of what's out there is a Hermione POV. I don't know. Maybe that's not true, but I feel like
at the very least it's dual POV.
Yes, and I don't mind that. And I don't mind Hermione's POV either. Some of my favorites are obviously that, but I do appreciate a Draco POV because then I don't know, you just get inside of his head more. I love it. Love him.
I know, I just love him.
Something I felt like the author did a really good job on was, you know, in every story you kind of see the, I don't know what to call it, the turning point in their relationship when it's not a relationship and it's turning into something, you know, so like they had all of these different points where it was starting, and I wrote them all down because I was like, I just love this. I do. I love a slow burn so much. It's beautiful. Usually, this one was, I thought. But when they go to the, I don't know if it's a ball or a gala, towards the beginning, and him, Blaze, and Theo are like, okay, I call the blondes, I call the brunettes, I call the redheads, right? And he sees Hermione, doesn't know it's her, and is totally gonna go like, oh yeah, that's the one I got. And then he realizes it's Granger. Mortified, right? So, and then just the little things after that point, like after he starts working with her. I don't remember exactly what point it is, but like he mentions he hadn't slept with a witch in a long time, and he hasn't been, and he doesn't. And it's like, oh, it's because you got a little thing burning for Granger. I love that.
I like slow burns. I felt like this one maybe just a touch
It was
too
too
slow. Not
It
like
was.
too
It
much,
was very
but just
slow.
enough that it's like if they didn't have like the funny comments and like the story
Yes.
driving it, I would have been like, okay, this is
Yep.
too slow for me.
But that's why they did.
I know, and it's good that they did. I just this one definitely was a little bit on the slower side of slow burns.
I do agree. I agree. I agree. Um, although I do like his when it start, I don't know when it starts, but when he starts thinking about, okay, I'm quashing this. This is Granger quashing. Then I think he says it out loud to her at one point. She's like, what? Nothing.
I just felt like it took too long for them to actually not even just like yeah, I wanted more, I wanted smut faster. That might have just been me though.
It's just
And
a preference.
yeah, and I just feel like the smut that was in this fic wasn't it was I don't
It wasn't as fulfilling.
yeah, like I waited so long and I
Dude,
wanted
you get like a 2 full chapters worth at the very end.
yeah, but at the very end I went through
It's very
30
detailed,
something
guys.
chapters for it. Just saying.
See, what I liked, like the last chapters, they were fine. When they were in Spain, though, those chapters, I was very excited. That was so good, so well written, and I don't know. And it wasn't even like that detailed. It was just, I don't know, it was just so romantic.
It was.
I was
I
very,
agree.
very happy with that. Though I got confused with some of the wording because he kept saying it was like a fantasy. Did it actually happen or did it not?
I think it did.
Okay, because later
It's because
on,
what is the
was
word?
like,
Okay.
was it Kalheim? I'm totally butchering
Sam
that.
Hain?
Sam Hain. I'm sorry.
Sam Hain? Is
I-
that how you pronounce it?
I'm sure we're saying it wrong. It is.
I know.
It is Irish, or I don't even remember. I'm sorry.
I can't remember either. Crap. We're gonna have
Google.
to find it. Yes. But yes, I don't think it was imagined.
Okay.
I hope not.
In a later chapter, was he talking to Blaze about it or Theo? It would have been Theo. Sorry. Or Potter. I don't remember who he's talking to. Dang it. Where he was saying that it was just fantasy. It was just a fantasy, and I was like, wait a second. What?
I feel like
So
maybe he said that just because he's trying to quash it,
that could be it.
where he can't have a relationship with her being her protector, whatever it is
Yeah.
he's doing. And so because he can't have that, he's trying to quash all of it. And so he's trying to tell himself, oh yeah, it was just a dream. It was Sam Hain. It was a dream.
Did I not write it down? I'm very upset. Okay, really quick, I'm sorry. The absolute hero of this story to me was Henriette, the house elf.
Love. Yes.
Oh,
10 out of
I
10.
love Henriette.
I loved her. And just immediately when I said it is the other house elf's name was Tuppy, is how I pronounced it. It's like Tupey.
I'm pretty sure the narrator that I listened to before they edited their version, they said Tuppy and then they edited it to Tupi. So
I think
I
in
don't
my
know.
head I've been pronouncing it Tupi.
Yeah.
Because that's I think it just sounds weird to me.
It's cuter, Tupi.
See, I think Tuppy's
Tuppy.
cuter. Anyway, not important. When he sees her the first time, get the whipped cream. I died laughing.
I want to
That
know
was-
what.
It was incredible.
Oh,
Get the whipped cream
man.
ready. Anyway,
So funny.
I couldn't look at whipped
did.
cream straight for like a week after that. Kept thinking,
See, I'm the opposite. I go, please.
well, we
Give
were
me some
so
more.
wrong. Okay, we were very wrong with the pronunciation.
Oh, no.
It's spelled Sam Hain. It's
Uh-huh.
saying Samhain.
Samhain. Huh.
Samhain.
Watch that be wrong.
Oh, sorry. It could be. Blame Google.
That's fine. We can. We absolutely can.
Samhain. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I wanted to get that correct. But yeah, nope. Henriette was incredible. And then when they were, I don't even remember what chapter this was, where she was feeding them, it was dinner or whatever, and brings out the artichoke or artichoke dip or whatever it was, and she just says, and they're an aphrodisiac.
and then just
Dips.
pops right out. I love that.
Yes. Yes.
So yes, she was the hero of this story.
She was the ultimate wingman.
Correct.
Something I found different about this one too was I felt like it was mainly just about Draco and Hermione.
Other characters were
There
not in
was,
it.
Yeah.
there was not a whole lot of other character building or really where they were in it much. I mean, Harry and Ron were their typical idiot selves. I mean, I feel
Like
like
always.
more so, more so. But like at the same time, really kind of idiotic. I felt like that was one of the reasons why it could be considered a rom-com so much. I think about rom-coms and I'm like, every single character in a rom-com is stupid. Literally, they're so dumb. And that's the funny part about it, is that everybody's kind of dumb. And so I felt like they grasped that really, really well, kind of making everybody idiotic. Yes, we do have our scenes where other people are there and whatnot. Like when he does go to Theo's house and he's like, I need to quash this, out, and he won't tell him that it's Granger. He just says, this witch that I can't get off my mind. And he talks to him for a little bit, but yet we don't have any sort of
Follow up
story or anything, because it's like that. And that's the thing that, we've talked about this before. Theo was not in the Harry Potter books. He was mentioned. Yeah. And I feel like every fan fiction makes Theo either the best friend or the enemy to Draco. And so I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny that they didn't go into any sort of detail on any other characters other than Draco and Hermione. And I liked that because it just kept the focus on them. It was cute.
Correct. Yeah.
Sorry,
I like that.
Gold star.
No, it's fine. I like that. I'm like, I'll just keep going. I like that Draco is willing to go and steal stuff with her.
Yes.
Oh my god.
He's like completely willing. You want to go break the law? Tell me more.
I will say that them getting the skull of
So
Mary
funny.
Magdalene, one, I was like, why would it be in France? And it put me into a rabbit hole of like, why the hell is her skull in France, supposedly? Or what? Yeah, no, I totally didn't know that that was real. Like that this author actually did research and did things for it. 10 out of 10 to them.
Even the springs before
Yeah.
in that earlier chapter, like Holly, did you only listen to it on audio? Did you ever read it?
The first time I went through it, I
Because
read half of it and
in
then
the
I listened to the
chapters,
other
there's
half. I
even
haven't.
like the pictures of the actual places and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah,
That is
so
super cool.
that's what
Well,
you're missing if you just.
I
do
guess
audio.
I'm scrolling. I just put it on entire book.
No, I
I'm just gonna scroll. Ooh, cute.
That's how I
Ooh.
read them. I put it in entire work and then just scroll. I don't go at chapter by chapter.
Oh, I could not do that. I have to do it by chapters.
Me neither. It gives me a place to stop if I need to go do
Exactly.
something.
I don't know. Plus
Although half the time I don't stop anyway. Oh, I've seen these
fair.
pictures though.
A lot of them
So
you have seen,
Mhm.
but I don't know. One of my Theo. Sorry, I'm going back to Theo. His invite to Hermione for his little party, super cute. I loved that.
Yes.
He included them, and this was after saving him from the magical creature, correct? I'm gonna take your
Yes.
silence as
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
correct.
It was. It was after.
It's one. He said in his letter to her, it may come as a surprise, but he does have friends. It will be intimate as he only has 6. I died, and then immediately after, he sends his invite to Draco, and like after she's read hers, and it just starts with "Dear Fucko," and I was like, yes, that's what a true friend is. True friendship right there. So
I do. I love that.
Theo's great. So
I loved that party too. I love the whole scene of the stupid scene of tying the knot. I thought it was so funny. Just, what
Oh my
what
God.
are Draco and Hermione doing? They're tying the knot. What? No, not. It's so stupid. It's so funny though. I died. I died at that point. I'm still looking through these photos.
No,
I like most of them.
I loved the inclusion of the Panville ship because I love
Yes,
it.
I know you
and
do.
I haven't seen many things with it. And I am I do follow quite a few like Panville artists on Twitter, and my God, are they good. So if you need any Panville inspiration, I got you.
See, I feel you both know me very well. I don't think I can ever give up my Hermione.
There's a whole world out there
So,
you're missing.
you
She
know,
says on a Hermione podcast.
I know, okay, but
Eventually, at some point, you
it's
might run out of Hermione, and then what are you gonna do when you've read them all? Reread
you
them
know,
all again?
I am positive I will never run out.
I don't think so, honestly, at this rate.
Have you seen how many are out there? Have you seen how many more are always being written? There are
Just
so
saying.
many.
At some point, you're gonna if you keep going the way you're going, and if we retire soon and you just have all this free time on your hands, just read and read, what are you gonna
I'm gonna play with my child.
You're putting off readings that we can have them.
There's like
Maybe
8,500 on
maybe
AO3. And that's like still going.
maybe I'll write one.
I don't think you would.
See, I have really good ideas.
You need
I'll just
someone
give
to
those,
write it for you.
you know, I was gonna give shout outs to specific authors, but I'm not going to.
Just know that she does think about you often, and if you ever want to hit her up, she would love that.
Hey Jude 19. Loves Big 8. I've got more. Speechwriter. I've got lots. Might be writing. I can keep going, guys. I'll keep going. Is this self-care? Let me add in this author too. I see. That's the problem. I have a problem. The problem is Hermione fan fiction, and how many of them I have reread so many times. Okay, here we go. Remain nameless. I'm on number 12 or 13. Hold on. Where's my cellular? There it is. Hang on. I have it written down. I'm not halfway through yet. I was listening to it yesterday. 12. I am on my 12th time through.
Nice,
Remain nameless. That is also on audio. I listen to it all the time.
It's such a good that's like to me the ultimate feel good one. Even though it makes you feel many emotions and makes you cry sometimes, but whatever.
Oh, but it makes you feel good.
And that's what I liked about this one is that it didn't make me cry. It was just happy.
It was just happy.
Just felt good.
Tracy, I feel like at some point you Marco Polo'd us crying over this
About
book.
this one?
Maybe you weren't crying about this and just crying about
Marco
Schitt's
Polo,
Creek.
you guys crying a lot, so that's honestly fair.
Oh, wait, just so everyone knows, we Marco Polo every single freaking day because we're old ladies.
And we don't live in the same state. We don't live near each other.
Old
None of
ladies.
us live in the same state anymore. Tracy and I live closer to each other, but
Okay,
still
thanks.
not.
Put me on the outs.
You're so far away.
Just across
How
the
many
country.
miles? 3,000? I
Across
don't
the
know.
country.
Across the country. Yeah.
I think you are right, though. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I did cry at this, but it could just be because I'm emotional / hormonal. Could be that.
I don't remember what it was about, though.
I don't either. So it must have been something just so cute that I just started to cry. That's
yes, probably. Because I remember when all three of us were reading that one at the Amor Vincent Omnia at the same time, and you sent us a Marco Polo just sobbing, and I'm like, crap, she's ahead of me right now. The hell is coming? The hell is coming? I don't want to know. And it just ended up being something really sweet. Not anything bad. I'm waiting for this horrible shoe to drop. Someone's gonna die. Draco's dead. Like
Hey, I'm telling you right now, we will never, ever, ever discuss on this podcast one where he dies. I can't do it. I won't do it. I can't. I won't.
Unless he comes back. I mean, I was gonna give away spoilers of a different book series.
Because I know a few. There's one that I even told you, Holly, that I'm like, oh, I read the ending of this one because I heard it was sad. We're not doing it.
Yes. Yeah, no, I don't think we're gonna ever do one that's not a happy ending.
Thank you.
I get so depressed when I read one that's not. Like the one, so it's still a work in progress of the second book, The Nature of Daylight, and This Bitter Earth is the second book to that. Guys, I don't see a happy ending in sight. This is irredeemable Draco Malfoy, and I don't like it. I don't like it, Carrie Ann. This is right up your alley. I think you'd love it. If anything, you both would love it for the smut. There is so much smut in these. That's all it is. It's like
Send me the link.
I will. It's bookmarked. I have so many bookmarks. Anyway.
Trying to think of something to get us back on track.
I know. I get so far off.
I know. Do you know who else was a good side character in this that I really, really, really liked? Hermione's cat.
Crookshanks. I love that cat. I love that cat is alive in like every single
yeah.
The fact that
I've read a couple where he's not, and it's kind of sad, but
yeah, well, we won't dwell on those at the moment. No. The fact that at the end I didn't quite catch it as I was reading it, so I was dying at the very end where he was like talking to the cat, like it's a human. So you really didn't get lost that day when I had to walk you back to Granger's room, did you? Just blinks, like no. And you really weren't chasing a leaf on purpose, were you? No. It's the funniest thing. He just talked to it like it was
ultimate
a
wingman.
normal thing.
Yes. But he double checked that Draco was worth it. He didn't just like give in right away. I love that.
Yep.
I like that we also have, we've got your typical damsel in distress, Hermione Granger, being kidnapped all the time. But then we also get a little taste of damsel in distress Draco from the Manticore that he fights and subsequently almost kills him. And then she has to save him. And I like that too. I do like when that, not necessarily it's reversed or anything, but we get a little bit of, okay, no, Hermione Granger is a powerful woman. She can take care of herself just fine. And look what she can do. Because, that obviously should have surely killed him. But it didn't. Because, it's Granger.
Because she used her muggle thoughts of being a doctor to use it for him. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, that pissed me off so much when
also, it's called
the
a
healers
or a noondu, by the way.
What did I say? Oh, I thought it was a manticore. Oh, is a manticore the water horse thingy?
No, that is a...
Man.
I know what they're called.
You know who would be really, really mad? Newt Scamander would be really mad.
A manticore is like the lion with the like scorpion
tail. Okay.
What's not? They didn't call it a kelpie. The water horse.
What is this? Hang on. What is this? His name is Pickett. I don't know what it is though.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Crap. I
Hold
gotta go
on.
watch Fantastic Beasts.
Pickett.
Yes, that's his name.
That's his name.
Oh,
Pickett.
hold on.
Creature is he?
I'm almost there.
He's a
Male bow truckle.
bow
Oh,
truckle.
bow truckle. Yeah.
Oh, Bryce was gonna tell me that.
Was it a
Sorry, Brian.
hippocampi? A hippocampi? Or a hippocampi? Is what the water horse?
She said you could say it either way, hippocampi or hippocampuses.
Okay.
Yes, you're right.
That.
Okay, what was it? It was not a manticore. What were we talking about?
A nundu or a noondu?
Nundu. I think it's a nundu.
Okay.
Okay,
It's
I
like
wrote down the
looks
wrong
like a
thing. That's
lion
why.
thing.
Yes, nundu. When she saves him from the nundu. So it pissed me off. This always pisses me off in every single one. It's just a given that the magical world versus the muggle world, not even just purebloods, but everybody hates muggles. I say that so badly. Not everyone hates muggles, but okay, the organization at St. Mungo's, when they find out that Hermione Granger is not just a healer, but she's also a doctor, they're like,
yeah, they look down on her for that.
oh, maybe she shouldn't be working here
Maybe
then.
she's not qualified.
Oh my gosh. I do like that it's set up though in that sort of a way for him to just throw it back in their faces. Oh, well, without her, you're not getting any of this funding. So best shape up. And then when he steals the seat from McLaggen, of course we've got that there.
Love that McLaggen is always the like
Ew.
stupid like.
I think I've only read one probably just one fan fiction where he wasn't a complete and utter a-hole. Like, and he was actually a very respectful gentleman. And I'm like, what is this? It's just really weird. Really weird. But I think it was just because they didn't want to stray from what was happening. So I was like, okay, we're just not getting to hate on him this time, but we all hate him.
I did think, like, going into it more towards that area, that part where you were just talking about, Draco says that McLaggen has a chilling obsession with Granger.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, chilling? Like, maybe he's in on it. No, he's just obsessed with Granger. So that did throw me a little bit.
Yeah.
I was, like, wanting to look
because it
more.
does. Yes.
So.
And you kind of wanted, that was another thing. I did kind of want it to be more than what it was, as far as who it was, who the whistleblower was, things like that in the very end, because it was like, they were mentioned one time. They weren't even part of the story. Like, and so actually the first time that I read it, I went, it's Kingsley. There's no way that it's not Kingsley. And he's just like setting it all up and he's going to do something horrible and awful. And then obviously it was not that way, but I thought it was Kingsley the first time I went through. And I was so set. I'm like, oh, it's Kingsley. He's a bad guy. Bad guy. I was so wrong. I usually am. I'm not really good at figuring out murders. I'd be a horrible detective. Horrible.
How canon compliant was this? Do you think it is a seamless transition, or was this a little bit too out there? I mean, obviously, like the rom-com version, but because I don't quite think this is seamless enough to be considered canon.
I don't either.
As we say this as it's fan fiction, but whatever. Yeah, no.
I think the biggest thing was that, like, even though it didn't include the other side characters much, it almost made like Harry and Ron non-existent in Hermione's life, like at all. And that I think is what was the weirdest part, was like they still would have interacted more than one night a month to me.
Right.
And Ginny wasn't mentioned at all.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I love Ginny. I love Ginny. Yeah, no. I don't think she was. And yeah, I also felt like, okay, yes, she is a doctor, she's a healer. She had zero time on her hands. So it makes sense in a way that she would only see them once a month, but then at the same time, It just doesn't make sense. I feel like they're so close. At least Harry and Hermione are so close that like I feel like if Draco would have just randomly shown up at her house, Harry would have been there at one point, just randomly. Like I feel like that just happens because they're like siblings in my head. And so I don't know. I don't know. I did feel that though, that it wasn't very canon compliant with certain specific things like that.
I just looked, I did like a control F. Ginny is mentioned once, and it is just when she's asking who put Draco up to reinforce the wards. She goes, was it Harry? Ginny? And that's it. Her name is just said once.
That's so funny.
Trying to think if I don't even think George was mentioned, or Fred. I don't know why they brought Lupin and Tonks obviously didn't die in the battle.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
George and Fred were
How
not
is that
mentioned.
not my first thought of? Is this canon compliant?
I
Sure.
know. Yeah, didn't quite realize until I asked it, but whatever.
I do like fics where Lupin and Tonks stay alive.
You too.
So I know like Lupin ended up being the familiar voice that Draco heard in St. Mungo's, which I honestly thought it was going to be somebody else, because why is Lupin so sickly? Like he's not sickly. Like being a werewolf.
I don't know. I feel like that many years worth of turning to a werewolf every full moon is going to wear on a person. So I feel like the older they get, the worse it probably gets.
But look at Greyback. Greyback is older than him because he's the one that turned.
He has.
What's his bucket?
But he's been like trying to fully turn into a wolf himself, like all these years. I feel like embracing it like that has probably helped him. Because you're not wrong. He's become more of a beast than.
Yeah. Don't bring your logic into this in this opinion.
I always feel like I've got good Harry Potter logic, and then I'll say that out loud, and my husband will look at me and just shake his head.
No, I think you're right. With I guess that makes sense. I guess it.
In my head, it makes sense. If I think of it like that, I go, "Oh, okay." But then again, I feel like if things are just described in certain ways, I'm very easily swayed. Just depends on how it's said. That's not a good quality. I felt like this one was just really fluffy. At a certain point when, he's Granger quashing and everything, it becomes fluffy. Like, they're cute. And I loved that the author put a little note about this in the chapter of, yes, here's my Beauty and the Beast moment. Sue me for writing this in or whatever, after Theo's party, and they go and they dance in his ballroom. I think, oh man,
I love that.
I melt. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then, when Crookshanks is out chasing his leaf, and he has thoughts of having the desire to kiss the juncture between her neck and shoulder. And he's like, I'd like to kiss you. Really? Yes, right there. And he points and touches her back. Like, do. It's just cute. It's like, oh my gosh. It gets me all Twitter pated.
I thought that part was a tiny bit cringy for that, but
no,
to each their own. No, I just thought it was really funny at the end of that scene where they were both like so worked up that they had to go work out their frustrations. Yeah, that was great.
I do like that we were kind of prepped. So, it's slow burning the whole time. And then it's like, oh, yeah. And is it Ron's idea? You need to stay at Malfoy Manor. That's the safest place for you. And it's like, oh, my. Okay. All right. Here we go. And then, yeah, that's all we get. So
their very first whatever, the one bed trope, that first hotel they stayed in, like screamed like one bed trope as I like threw my phone down and just got so excited, and then I kept going because
nothing.
I know that's the thing that was frustrating. Nothing happened.
Not
so
even
funny.
Just lingering looks or whatever.
No, nothing. He tried his hardest. He came out dripping wet. Nothing. Even I think it's so funny how particular he was about his hair.
Yes.
I think that's
Great
so cute.
chapter. I wrote down some cute lines that I was just like made my heart stop. Don't actually have to do it, but just watching him like slowly fall in love without even realizing it. First one I wrote down was chapter 13, where they were at it, oh crap, where was it? Were they stealing the Mary Magdalene head? That might be what it
Chapter
was.
13.
I think so. I think that's the hormone and crotch beginning,
Yes.
their
Yes,
names,
it is.
hormone and crotch. But this line in particular was the very first one I wrote down. That's where I was like, oh my god. It says, oh gosh, I hate like reading things again, but whatever. The candlelight loved her. It kissed her forehead and flickered warm touches across her collarbone. It danced in her eyes. The effect was enchanting. And I just like,
heart, stop.
Yep. So yeah, that was the very first line that I was like, oh, he's in love. So anyway.
I do.
He's in love.
I love that whole night. So, they go to dinner and then they're walking along the beach
Yes.
and then he has to help her up the rocks.
Oh, and of course, like she's looking out at something and isn't it beautiful? Doesn't look at it and he said, yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. This fic was just so it was very cute. Just very cute. I love that. I love that.
Oh, literally the next line went down. It's still chapter 13. She was watching the birds. And that's when he says that. She's like, it's beautiful. And Draco says yes, but they were not talking about the same thing. And I put internal screaming in parentheses. So and then let's see. Pandora's box. That was hilarious. Them getting Pandora's box. The whole Draco being a dog thing and having to be a dog. Loved it.
I loved Hermione being Draco. and then afterwards and they're celebrating their victory and she goes, I have to pee. And she does. She goes pee.
I wrote it down. Because it was like, what's the matter? You don't want to hold my willy? I died. I died.
God.
And what else? I can go in there and hold it for you. Jeezel Pete's, and then she asks, do I sit or do I stand? He gets all affronted. And then she comes out, well, that explains your feet.
Yes! That line right there. That line. Oh my
that explains
gosh.
your feet. And he's like, what?
Yes.
Oh, nothing. Gosh.
I loved all those one-liners. All those one-line that they were just so perfect. I have another one. I can't even remember where this one was set. I'm guessing towards the end, but it was I'm 14 again and I'm going to finish in my pants.
Yep, that was towards the end. Was it? Doesn't matter.
Oh, it's
Okay,
so
hold
funny.
on. Hold on. I'm trying to
Leon's
figure
our
out which
fact checker.
chapter. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Hold on.
That's fine. Where? Okay, so
It's
I
in
understand.
chapter 29 that he says that.
Okay, so towards the end.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, quick question then. So I understand hormone.
Where's crotch come in?
I've read this one 3 times and I still don't understand where crotch happens.
The only
Okay,
Draco.
I'll tell you right now. Yeah, I'll tell you
Perfect.
right now. Okay.
Explain this.
Let me go to the first instance that it pops up. Is right. Oh, hold on. That's not the right instance. The first thing that pops up is at the table when they are out
Right. Yep.
eating dinner, and it just says it's reserved for hormone at crotch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to look at what it says.
So funny.
How much they laugh was cute.
Yeah. It doesn't, because she says, oh my God, why? They laugh.
Right.
What wine did you order for us, crotch? They start laughing again.
I feel like it's never explained. I mean,
it's not.
I think we can all draw the conclusion of hormone, which is easy to see.
For Hermione.
But yeah, because you're only missing the eye. That's it. And then, but Draco and crotch. So is there, maybe there's a word translated into French that Draco looks like crotch? I don't know.
right down here when he's the dog and they're trying to get Pandora's
They
box.
call him Crotch.
Yeah, she goes, his name, it's Crotch.
His
And then
crotch.
the Marquis in a strong French accent says, I think he's trying to say crotch. And then she goes, yes, it means clever in or murmish. I didn't name him. But I don't know if that's real or if she was just like,
No, it's
saying
not. I
that.
think she made that up.
I'm trying not to Google just Draco crotch.
I know.
But I'm trying to do it with the K spelling because that's how like they said it, how she said it when he was a dog, and it's coming up with Draco Crotch Rocket and Crotch Goblin. So just do with that information what you will.
I don't get it. Someone can explain this to us because we don't get it.
Yeah, why crotch? Where did that come from? We just want to know more.
I mean, it's hilarious, but I want to know why. Why is crotch so funny? Does Draco, like the spelling of Draco, literally mean crotch in a different language, maybe? I don't know.
No, no.
It'd be really funny if it does.
Finding nothing remotely close. Because it's not like, because Draco, his family supposedly comes from France. So it's not like his name would be so weird that they call him Crotch on accident like that. I don't know. Because I feel like his French ancestry would have something to do with his like naming and, you know, Malfoy. I don't know. Could be wrong. Probably am.
Maybe it's another constellation. I don't know all of them. I know Draco and Regulus and Sirius and Narcissa and Andromeda, and that's about it. That's about all the members of the Black family I know.
I was gonna say, I'm like, is technically Andromeda's not a constellation, is it?
Is that a star?
Yeah.
Is that just a star?
Okay, sorry.
It's a galaxy.
Yeah, it's a constellation. I'm going back to the crotch thing. I found a Reddit post.
Yes.
Okay.
Here we go.
And somebody says, timely leak 6452 says, like, can someone explain the hormone and crotch joke to me? I understand hormone, but where does crotch come from? And then the fledgling says, I always read it as the name was given as Hermione Granger, and then it somehow changed into Hermione at Crotch.
So it's Hermione Granger.
Like somebody's saying that the crotch is coming from her last name.
Huh.
Like they misheard somehow. But even then, Granger at Crotch does not match.
And that would make sense if, like, because they were laughing about his name being Crotch.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have anything to do
with
with it.
Is this self-care? If you could just send us a message, let us know why Crotch. We just want to know. Other people out there want to know apparently too. So just question.
It's a good question.
Thank you.
I like that they have safe words. They change it. He said, safe word, Neville. And then she changes it at some point to prolapse.
He changed it to prolapse.
He did.
Yes.
So funny. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah.
Well, and them saying like, okay, safe word, Neville. Oh, really? Yes. Okay. Like, and they just kind of kept going.
That's gross. But I mean that'll
hey, that'll stop you in your tracks. That makes sense.
That's right. Yep. It's funny that we're talking about this, whether or not it's a canon story, and I got to my last page of notes and I said Ron and Luna, definitely not a canon story.
It was this one. I was wondering if it was this one that was Ron and Luna.
I don't like it.
I'm not. No, he's too mean.
Dude, I don't even like Harry and Luna. Luna
that
belongs
makes more
with
sense than Ron, though.
Rolf.
See, I like Luna and Neville.
I like Luna and Blaze. I've seen those.
I like Luna and a lot of different characters, but
it's just Ron.
Not Ron. Does anyone like anyone with Ron? Yeah, I do.
Padma.
I was about to say remain nameless. Duh. Remain nameless is canon, Kay. It is Harry Potter number 8.
You won't hear complaints from me.
Number 8.
What is I'm not the biggest fan of Ron Lavender fics.
Well, Lavender died. So you know what?
she's alive. I
No.
don't hate those ones, but
Oh, I usually do, because if Lavender's alive, Ron usually cheated on Hermione with her.
that's a very good point.
Oh, I feel like that happens more often than not. uh,
My dog is so cute over there. So if I just am looking like this off the camera, it's because I'm staring at my dog. Just an FYI.
I have my
Ugh.
dog here too. I just realized he's there. Something else I really liked about this fic was they did a really good job at, I don't know what the term is for this, but they did a good job at addressing issues that we might have later in the story early on, such as obviously going back to Malfoy Manor, Granger is going to have some issues and PTSD. This is addressed very early on when they don't realize that she has she can find him, find him through his ring, and she can feel his pulse, and when he's being reckless and a hot idiot falling off his broom diving in the sky, and she gets to him or whatever, and then she won't go into his house to flute. And then obviously he realizes and he escorts her home and everything a different way, but like it's mentioned on earlier, and then we revisit this a couple of times before we actually have her staying at Malfoy Manor when Narcissa invites her to tea, and she goes to the little party or whatever that's there with Narcissa, and Narcissa invites all these other people. And then she has a really thoughtful chat with Draco outside by his fountain thingy and talking about that.
I really liked Narcissa in this fic because it did still have her slight prejudice ways of like thinking, but to me it was a much more organic change to, oh, I suddenly like Granger now. She's a good fit for him. Oh, she saved his life. Like I thought this was one of the most natural progressions of her being a pureblood to being totally fine with Draco marrying her, basically.
Right.
I really liked her in this one. Even though she wasn't quite in it, but
yeah.
I don't know. I liked this one. To me, it was very believable, that progression.
Yes. And I feel like that, I really like that in a Hermione fan fiction. Yes, I like it when they stay canon. I do like this though too, where people who are dead are not actually dead, Tonks and Lupin. But
we don't need to talk about canon when it brings people back, because that's what we want. We don't want it to be canon.
We don't want Tom Riddle coming back. I don't want to hear about your what is it called?
Hermione.
None of this. Nope.
Oh my gosh.
And I never say never. But yes, I do. Okay, getting back to what I was saying though, canon wise, I do like it when the characters are believable. So yes, with Narcissa, I also agree that it was so much more natural and believable the way she came around versus, what I feel like they could have done, because I feel like they could have done what they did with a lot of the characters and not round them out at all. I feel like Narcissa was probably the next most rounded character outside of Draco and Hermione because of that. Maybe not. I mean, we didn't get any actual story with her. We didn't get story with anyone, but
I liked her vulnerability with Hermione when she was crying at her when Draco was in the hospital. Sorry, hiccups. And even Draco mentioned that, she doesn't do that. So the fact that she did that to you is big, basically. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I also really liked her in this one. I also liked, I felt like other than just, the slow burn that, yes, I'm addicted to, loving the slow burn, but I felt like the story itself did a really good job keeping me hooked, like with the mystery. Yeah. I mean, yes, of course, I thought it was Kingsley the first time I read this, but I was still looking for hints and clues and everything, and you know, the whole time going, who the heck is at Granger's house? You know, he set up that alarm spell.
That's where that was a turning point for me. Like
Yes.
as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, this is good. So
Yeah, there was that, and then I mean, there's obviously several different ones. I love the way it was written about his fight with the guys that were trying to break into her lab, and she's in the lab watching her camera. I love playing that scene out in my head. That's what I want to see on video. I want to see that played out when he's like slashing these guys up with his wand. And I was laughing like the whole time I was reading through this, because the way that Draco is thinking in his head and doing these things, like he's using legitimacy to figure out what their next move is going to be. He's figuring, like, he's so smart and he's so good at what he does. And I'm like, oh, I want to see this Draco Malfoy being a badass. Please let me see him being a badass. And then, you know, he uses one of them as a
Shield.
as a shield. Yeah. Oh, he's burned alive. Okay. That's fine. Oops. Sorry, not sorry. I love it. I just love it. And then what is it? Does he cut off one of their arms? Is that what he does? I feel like he cuts off one of their arms.
yeah,
And he's like, you better keep it. He tells him something like, keep it cold. He doesn't say keep it cold, but something along those lines of, so that way they can reattach it. And then I think he destroys it or something happens. And he goes, oops.
Yeah, I would
remember.
cast a cooling charm on the severed limbs if I were you know, so they can be reattached.
And then I feel like he does something to them. But anyway, and then, you know, when she gets kidnapped the first time and he follows her to the little house in the woods or whatever, and then she uses her little puck thingies that that diffuses magic. I love that. I felt like it was well rounded, that even though it's like, okay, they made up a lot of different things that, you know, don't necessarily exist but could exist in the Harry Potter universe, like her little pucks that she has. And they go through, he's like, what are these? Oh, well, they just make it so, you know, not that it's so that her electricity can be used. Is that what it is?
computer, her phone,
Her computer or phone, something. And it suppresses magic too. And so she just carries them
that's
around.
What it's for. It's to suppress magic.
Okay.
So she can use them.
Okay. Yeah. So I felt like it was just really creative. Like they went through from the very beginning with all these different things to help lead up to, oh, these are going to be helpful here. This is going to be helpful here. And very well rounded. I feel like the Harry Potter books were very well rounded in that way. And so I think when an author can actually do that, you know, where they introduce something earlier in the story and bring it back later in a very significant way.
Sorry. Foreshadowing.
Can anyone tell me what foreshadowing is? Sorry. Yeah, I quote, but a Harry Potter musical is the best thing to quote. Carrie Ann, you've still never seen that, have you?
I have not.
Oh my, can we, if we ever get rich, can we get together and I want to watch a Harry Potter musical with you for the first time?
Okay, so I can't watch it until you're there?
Nah, no, you can watch it because you'll be laughing more at me than actually at the the musical itself. That's what my family tells me. They're like, Holly, we don't actually watch what you tell us to watch because we're watching and laughing at you. I know. I'm my own little show. My little one-man show.
My own little show.
I am. Anyway, but yes, I do. I like the foreshadowing in this one. They did a really good job figuring it out and keeping on track. Unlike me, I don't keep anything on track. I feel bad that we haven't even made a shout out to Curdled Jizz. It was mentioned twice. Curdled Jizz. What were the things that curdled his jizz? I didn't write those down.
I didn't either. And here Carrie Ann is F whatever.
Yeah, the first one. It says figure 11, luminal calibre caliber something of abnormal ovid. I cannot say these words.
This is her conference, isn't it? I can read it. Hang on. I want to see. You don't have to wait for me.
We have the latest journal of sexual and reproductive health. And then he's looking at a figure. And then she goes, "Does that do it for you?" And he goes, "No, it curdles my jizz." And then the next one, Draco wanted to follow up with something clever and sexy, but Granger chose that moment to shed her shawl and expose her hideous pajamas. "Gods," said Draco. Whatever is the matter?" asked Granger. "Don't you like these? Am I curdling your jizz?"
The fact that she says that to him.
Yeah.
But it's because he said it to her before. So
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, this is how you talk." I'll talk the way you talk.
It's nice that she was like confident enough to like say that back.
I do love
this last. I'm sorry. This
no,
very last.
I love that one. Love it. It gives
by
me
Nikita
Pride and
Jobson.
Prejudice vibes.
Sorry.
Pride
Nikita,
and Prejudice vibes. That's what I get from that.
Nikita Jobson, good job. Because that's incredible.
They do a good job.
Continue.
For those that are listening and not watching, that was talking about fan art for that's the last chapter, right, Tracy?
Yeah, very last chapter.
It's just Hermione and Draco lovingly looking at kissing lovingly with beautiful. It's just great. So if you who did it?
Nikita Jobson.
You should go look it up because it was beautiful. Worth it.
So worth it. Again, Pride and Prejudice vibes. That's what I get from that. It really is. It's like the ending, not the ending scene, but it's the scene where he's stuttering, I love you. I don't.
Hey, Pride and Prejudice. One of my favorites.
It's the sunrise. It's the sunrise, isn't it? And I feel like that artwork looks like the sunrise. Is it the sunset?
I love you was the rain.
How many times have you guys each seen Pride and Prejudice?
I need to go watch Pride and Prejudice. I haven't watched it in a couple years.
How many times have you seen it?
2 weeks ago. Probably about 9 times. Probably it's not a whole lot. Yeah.
That's honestly one film I don't have memorized. That's
have you watched it a lot though, or have you only watched it once?
I've watched it a lot.
Oh, okay, I think I've maybe watched it once,
but I don't know why I'm remembering that so differently. I love that Keira Knightley version. Oh my!
Was that pun intended?
What?
I love Keira Knightley.
No, it wasn't, but we're going to pretend like it was.
Yeah, let's pretend it was.
I am that funny.
I do need to watch the BBC short series, limited series of it, the 1995 version. Everyone tells me that, Tracy, you're missing out. So I will do that one day. It's on my list. But man, I love you most ardently. Oh, it hurts me so much. Shut up.
I love his hand flex. I love his botched proposal in the end of this one. I like how she doesn't get it. He's not even, I'm like, I'm going through this. He's not even asking her. Like, he's not straight up asking her to marry him. He's just like, yeah. You want to do this? Do what? It's funny. I always love it when they end up married or engaged.
Me too.
Surprise, surprise.
Finishes up the fluff, rounds it out. Really does. Not that you have to be married or engaged. It just rounds out my happiness fluff that I want to feel when I'm reading a fan fiction. I get to feel the wedding jitters again.
You had jitters for your wedding?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say I could not wait for the day to be over.
Me too. I had stressful jitters the whole day. Freak that, pal.
One thing I really liked towards the very end was, their 2-chapter bone sesh, apparently, according to Holly. I liked how they started out somewhat. Kinky is not the word, because this was not kinky. Very kinky, I should say. but I like how they kind of started out with that, and then towards like the end, they're having a conversation of like, okay, well, what can I expect? Well, I do need you to call me good boy at some point, and I fucking lost it. That was the funniest thing I had read in like the last like 20 minutes, apparently, because I was crying. Oh my god, it was so funny. I do need to
That
call
is
you.
so funny.
I do need you to call me good boy at one point. Oh my god. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's fine. We all like our dominant Draco, but you know, when there's a little
He needs
hint
to
of
be told he's a good boy.
exactly
He
when
does
there's a
tell
little
By the
hint of a sub.
professor. By the professor.
She does tell him. Did you catch that? At one point, she goes, "You are a good boy."
Yeah.
In those last 2 chapters, or does she say that when he's a dog?
No, it's like right after. So he
Dead.
goes, I'm going to need you to tell me I'm a good boy at some point. And then they're like, you know, she's sucking him off, okay? She's sucking the life out of him, okay? And at the very end, she climbs up the bed, kisses him, and then frees him from the handcuffs. Says you
That's
are a
right.
good boy.
Ah,
Yum.
so funny.
Did you say yum?
Yeah, yum.
Well, there was whipped cream involved, so I
yum.
mean,
True. And I bet it was
Lots
homemade
of
whipped
it.
cream, so that's even better.
lots of it. There was a big bowl full.
Mhm.
I
Hey,
don't even
homemade
think
whipped
I
cream.
could do a whole bowl.
They didn't either.
Can you imagine trying to have finish the especially if I knowing Henriette the wolf,
Oh.
not the wolf. Wow.
The elf.
The elf, like she would come in, she'd want to be prepared. So it'd be this ginormous bowl. Okay? Because she wouldn't want there to be not enough, so she would go overboard. I wouldn't even know what to do with that amount with that much. Plus, I'm more used to the stuff out of the can with like the nozzle, so you can put it in like a specific spot.
Does that make us American, or do they sell that overseas?
I'm sure they sell it, but have you
Do
ever
people
had
buy
homemade
it?
whipped cream?
Yes,
Yes.
It's so
thick.
good.
It's thick, okay? And it's gonna get everywhere. I feel like you can't control it as much as you can with the little nozzle.
Well, they even mentioned that it kind of started to melt at some point in this, so that's it.
At one point during this whole sesh, they're not going to be able to tell what's whipped cream and what's not.
Can you imagine how sticky that would be?
One, ew, and two, sticky. Ew, ugh. Ugh.
Sorry.
I'm used to the nozzle, the stuff that's good and it's easy, and I feel like it makes the cleanup a lot easier because it's not dripping everywhere.
You know what's good though too? Cool Whip. Dude, I'll sit there and I'll eat spoonfuls of that stuff.
Okay, see, I'm still talking about sex though, and you are talking about eating it out of a container.
I mean, Tracy sends me all these TikToks of all these food porn videos, so I mean, we all know where my head's at.
So
when there's food involved, you know this chub is coming. It's just...
No pun intended.
Oh, you know I fully intended for that pun, don't you? Oh, it's so funny. It really is. You know, I'm gonna use an office quote here, but Tracy, you're gonna like it. Carrie Ann and I are our Office fans. The American Office. Yes, I like the British Office. That's what started it all, but I love the American Office. The American Office just takes it to a new level. I think that might be offensive.
Longer.
Sorry. Anyway, yes, it was way longer. That's what she said. Anyway, Robert California. Life is sex. That's all he talks about all the time. That is all he talks about. Life is sex. Hey Jim, would you like sex advice or animal advice? I think I'll take the animal advice. Okay, animal sex. That's not what it is. I can't remember what it is, but he brings it back into sex.
Would you like an animal analogy or a sexual analogy?
That right there.
Animal, please.
Yeah, 1, 2, 1, whatever. It's so funny though. Everything is sex. Okay, last thing I love the whole wrap up of Hermione building the fire and the nuns come through.
I thought that was such a good way to bring them back in.
Exactly.
It's
So out of left
amazing.
field. I was like,
Yes.
what? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I love that they brought the goat. Is it a goat skull? Is that what they said it was? A goat skull?
I do not remember.
And it was the one that was in as one of the booby traps when they were going to get the skull of Mary Magdalene.
The goat's skull.
Yes. And it was, I think it was just there hanging on like a wall, or it was just hovering in the air. And so I can't remember what they did, if they went around it, I don't know, but they never figured out what it was because, well, had they would have been dead. Obviously very, very dead. I loved that whole thing. I love that the nuns came out and they just blew everyone to shit. Yes. In such a I don't know. Imagining nuns doing this, what they did, I can see it, but I can't at the same time, and that's what I loved about it. That is what I loved about it, because I can see it, because it's like, okay, they're all holiness and everything, and then they bring this demon in to do all this really bad stuff. So it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense.
Well, and they were weren't they flying around as well, like cackling? And I was like,
Yep.
witches. So
Yep.
I'm like, this is like the sacrilegious was
Yes.
my thought. So what would you rate the fic overall?
Using our little rating system thingy?
Whatever goes
See,
on.
and here's the thing for us though. We're all gonna have different ratings because I am a Gryffindor. Chosen Gryffindor.
She's the Hufflepuff.
I am not a Hufflepuff. Damn it. I want Draco Malfoy. Draco Malfoy doesn't want me if I'm a Hufflepuff. Who am I kidding? He doesn't want me anyway. I look like a Weasley.
That's her Carrie Ann.
I look like a Weasley. I really do.
You could play Ginny. And then
I've played Ginny before, but I don't want Harry Potter. I want Draco Malfoy. I used to want Harry Potter. Then I realized that Draco Malfoy is my own personal Mr. Darcy. Oh, he's so handsome.
Oh my God.
Anyways.
Well, my overall rating of this, what I rated it was a 3.75 out of 5. I was being harsh in my rating. Because overall,
that doesn't seem harsh
to
nah.
me. Okay, good.
I was gonna say I give it a 4, I think.
Okay. It just I was going with a 4 and I just ducked it a teeny tiny bit just because it's nothing on the author. It was more of, I'm blaming Holly because I had to read it quickly when I didn't want to. But no, it kept it high because it was just so funny. So anyway.
Carrie Ann, you gave it a 4?
I give it a 4 out of a 5. Yeah. The characters were pretty developed, but it moved a little slow in some parts. And again, I go back to like, yes, there was smut, but it was kind of right at the end, and it wasn't for all of the buildup. I felt like I was left a little unsatisfied. Like I wanted a little bit more for how long it took to get there. And so I give it like a 4. It was good. I'd read it again. I recommend it to people, but I don't know if I'd be like, oh my gosh, holy grail. Like I pray.
Well, see, there isn't one like that because Remain Nameless is just at the top there. Remain Nameless. Everyone, no, okay, I can't say it like that. I was going to say everyone just stop trying because it's never going to top Remain Nameless. Remain Nameless. Oh.
I am to blame. I'm sorry, world.
That was the first one I ever read. And it is all Tracy's fault. It's the first one Carrie Ann read too, because eventually Tracy got her to read it too.
It was my first fan fiction. Like of
Same.
all.
Wow, really?
Same.
Yeah, I think it was right after that I read the ACOTAR one and I read the 100 one, but Remain Nameless was the very first one I read.
Yeah, I am still stuck in a Dramini world of fan fiction. I have never ventured out. That's not true. You sent me one Harry Potter fan fiction where Harry Potter uses a time turner and just starts reliving his life again. I made it like a third of the way through that and said, I don't like this. I want Hermione back.
Oh, I vaguely remember that. No, you liked Dead of Time?
Oh no. How could I forget?
I don't know.
Oh no.
That one stands right next to Remain Nameless. That is the only fan fiction I have ever read that is not Hermione. You're right. But I've even written down how it could have been a Hermione. How it would have
Of
been a
course you
Hermione.
have.
Dude, Draco in that freaking fic. Don't get me started. We've already gotten me started. Draco even makes comments of, oh man, Black. He's all serious. He goes, if you hadn't claimed her, I would have. It's like, oh boy, oh yes, you would.
Even the author mentioned,
know it.
like, yeah, I'm a Hermione.
Oh
did
yeah,
say
they
I'm a
are.
Hermione?
Shyalani, yes.
Yeah,
They've
she
written
mentioned.
They've written a Hermione that's in my top 10. My top 10 has one of their Hermiones in it. Shyalani. It's the one I can't pronounce because I don't speak any sort of French. Presque. Presque. Toujours pas. That's the only part I can say. Toujours pas. Because I listen to these on audio. That one is on audio available. I listen to them on Spotify for free. They're fantastic. Anyway, they do that one. Love it. There's the unedited version. Unedited. I listen to that one more often because it's hilarious. I love it. But where was I going with this? I was going somewhere with this. Damn it. No, presque toujours pas. I can say toujours pas because they say it so often in that. And I'm pretty sure she speaks French, the gal that narrates it. So toujours pas my ass. Anyway, sorry. That's a quote. I've listened to it so many times. We'll never get to the Dead of Time because it's not a Hermione, damn it. I know, okay, I know for a fact that I would love other pairings, other fan fictions. I know this. It's because of how much I love Hermione. Okay? I know that I would love others, but I just want them. Just want them now and forever. Okay? Now and forever.
Okay, what do you rate this? We're going back to that. What do you rate
I
this?
rate this a 4.8. I give it a 4.8 because yes, I do agree with several of the things that both of you mentioned of, okay, this was really slow. I absolutely agree with that. It was a little too slow as far as, okay, we're going to bone now and then, oh, poor Draco and his blue balls. I mean, come on. Right? And then, oh, what was the other thing that I hated about this? There was one more thing I hated. Now I can't remember. Oh, another funny thing. The anus hickey ward. Like, when somebody is so creative, think of stuff like that. Good job. Just good job. Hats off. Hats off. What did I hate? Maybe that was the only thing I hated was that it was slow.
And they even like warn you. Everyone warns you that this is a slow burn, so you know what you're getting into.
Yeah. So you really can't hate it for that.
So you really can't hate it for that.
I'm not hating it because it was a slow burn. I'm hating it because it was slow,
There
and then when it got to the smut,
yes,
it wasn't.
There was not gratification.
It wasn't satisfying. Shut up.
It feels like you're making puns every time. It's not gratifying. It's not satisfying.
I found more quotes. I turned back to my first page and I skipped over a lot of the quotes that I wrote down, and we didn't talk about them.
Okay, rapid fire.
I love that at one point he says, "It's weird to be talking to naked Granger." He says that something along those lines of, it's weird to be, because he's chatting with her on the other side of the bathroom, I think, when they're in the hotel, and she's ready to get in the shower, and he just has the thought, it's weird to talk to naked Granger. It's little lines like that. That's just I love that we have an appearance of our favorite Draco Malfoy being in love with Hermione Granger that we have in all of these fics, which is Making Hermione laugh is one of my new favorite pastimes.
Goals.
Oh, Fluffy Draco. every fluff fic. We love that. And then my last one was yes, Tonk, she broke her neck falling down a hill. I thrust it into her too hard. Yes, she's dead. Please return my body to my mother in the fewest pieces possible.
Wasn't that the same spot that they were like looking for something and there was like a female fox like crying in heat or something?
Oh, yeah.
Was that something random?
I don't know if that was the same spot.
But that was a funny. God,
Maybe it
Where
was.
did he put that? Oh my, because a female fox is a vixen, and he like saying the vixen getting plowed or something. Like I don't remember.
And it made me think of the dead of time because everything makes me think of the dead of time. I gave this a 4.8. 4.8 because
where does this fall on your rating scale of the ones you've read so far? Like what number is it?
Number 3. I already know.
It's
funny because it was number 10, and when we went back to reread this, I was looking at my list because okay, guys, I keep a whole list. You can't see this, can you? No.
Well, the audio people won't be able to see it anyway.
Okay. So these are Hermione's I have read. I have kept this list since I created it, which was, I think, November of last year when I first read Remain Nameless for the first time. And I decided to write down all the Hermione's that I have read. And then as I started going, okay, number 1 is Remain Nameless. Remain Nameless has never moved from the number 1 slot, and it never will. It just won't. It's so
never
good.
say never. What if we happen upon one that is like even better?
The Dead of Time is right up there with it, but it's not a Hermione, so it can't replace it.
Just saying, never say never. What if there's some unknown author out there right now writing like one that's gonna be
the best fic? Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. I can never say never. Never say never. Okay. It is number 3. It used to be number 10.
No, it'll never change.
No, I'm number 3. Number 3. It used to be number 10. When I came back to read this for the 3rd time, I reread it and I went, why is this one after this one and after this one and after this one? I don't know, but no. So I moved it back up to its rightful place as number 3. It is number 3 on the best Hermione fan fictions
according
of all
to
time.
Holly.
According to Holly, your faithful chosen Gryffindor. So you know my words are nice and fake.
Self-appointed.
Nice and fake. We fake it till we make it. Anyway. So Remain Nameless, and then it jumps down 1. Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. Number 3. It's fantastic. You'll love it. I love them. Hermione.
Okay. What are you doing this week? Reading this week? What's up? What's new? What's going to be in the next 2 weeks?
I'm not reading Hermione.
Yeah, I'm reading an actual.
We know that's a lie.
Jesus.
It's a lie and it's not a lie. I'm reading the 4th ACOTAR one.
Frost and Starlight.
That one. No.
I'm so upset. It's Frost and Starlight. Yeah.
Okay.
I cannot believe I just did that. Oh my god. Okay. Sorry.
I already read ACOWAR. That was the 3rd one, right?
That's the 3rd, yeah.
I do actually like this series. And
for everybody listening, this is a big moment because Holly literally only reads Hermione. So the fact that she's branching out at all.
Look at my books. I have all the Harry Potter books here. My illustrated versions, which I don't have all of them. My Spanish versions and my English ones. I don't read anything else.
Yeah, so the fact that you're enjoying the ACOTAR series is a big thing. So
I know. I do. I like it a lot.
I am reading a book called Morbidly Yours. I forget who it's by.
You were telling us about this and I forgot.
Mm-hmm. It's super cute. So that's what I'm reading at the moment.
It's by Ivy Fairbanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't want to tell you guys.
was gonna say I want to know what Carrie Ann's reading, and I want to hear her say
Judge
it.
me. I found you guys okay. For the people who can't see, I'm gonna show my list. It's probably got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 currently that I want to read. Okay, so you could just see it's a cute little list. Okay, because this is so dumb. Okay, somebody really recommended Garden Gnome Sex Party.
Dad.
There's also one called My Mac and Cheese is a Lesbian and a Lawyer.
Dad. Not the
That
mac and cheese being a lesbian.
Carrie Ann.
bagged by the groceries. Like there's a couple on here that like I am going to read this week.
Oh, buddy.
I'm so very sorry. The Morningwood Tree is one of them that's also on my list. Conquered by Clippy, you know, the little
Yep. Yep.
from the early for those young kids out there listening, you know, there was this little paper clip that like helped you on your computer.
I think he was called Clippy.
That's exactly
Daryl from The Office.
So I'm so sorry. That's what I'm. Besides that, I am. I'm reading a couple other things by Emily McIntyre. Hey, well, if that's all for next week, join us next time as we talk about. I'm going to say this wrong. Apericium.
That's how I say it.
Apericium.
Apericium by Lady.
I don't know. But that's what I say.
I don't. I'm so sorry if I'm saying that wrong. But that is what we will be discussing the next time you join us. And thanks for listening. Hermione Fanfic Fanatics is a fan podcast that discusses and reviews fan fiction written by various authors, based on the characters Hermione Granger and Draco Malfoy from the Harry Potter series, created and owned by J.K. Rowling. We do not own the rights to the Harry Potter series, its characters, or any of the fan fiction works mentioned in this podcast. The purpose of our podcast is to provide commentary, analysis, and entertainment related to the fanfiction community and to foster a sense of community among fans. We respect the creative efforts of fanfiction authors and consider their works as transformative interpretations of the original source material. All fanfiction works discussed on this podcast are the intellectual property of their respective authors. We aim to provide proper attribution and promote the fanfiction community by linking to the author's original works where possible. This podcast is created for entertainment purposes and is not intended to infringe upon the rights of the copyright holders. If you are the author of a fan fiction work discussed on this podcast and would like us to remove or modify our content related to your work, please contact us and we will promptly address your request. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge and agree to the terms of this disclaimer.